Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so I did a little bit of tidying up in the meantime and just fixed a few things. I had a couple of channels that there was stuff playing right in the beginning that was never used again, so it just kind of filled up gaps and tweaked some of the transitions and stuff. Mostly just moving in effects and things like that. And then I made a few small changes that I just wanted to go over with the lead in the main break. We did a little bit of work on this vocal part, mostly just bouncing to audio so that we could cut out the delays and things there. And this lead, I just simplified the actual MIDI, so it's a little bit more straight. I didn't want to go super mental with the leads and stuff towards the end of the track, so I wanted to kind of keep that more slightly progressive vibe, almost anticlimactic. It doesn't come in slamming with all the percussion, big leads and stuff like other sort of more uplifting trance kind of sound. I wanted it to drop down to something quite minimal like this, so we've just kind of edited this and essentially the same sound that we had, just a different pattern. And then our outro as well, I just moved in a few bits and pieces from the beginning as well, and a little bit of automation on the bass line and the kick. Cool. So now that we've just neatened up everything, I think we're about ready to start preparing it for mastering. This is going to be a pretty short segment. I'm just going to head over to our buses. I was initially going to spread out the leads a little bit more, but I don't think it's necessary because they kind of spread out in their arrangement already, so it's not like they're playing over each other loads of places. If we run into any problems, we might have to, but I don't think we will. So we're going to keep this fairly simple. We'll remove those tracks. When I go to mastering, I'm going to do just a light stems master. Just so that we have the kick and the bass line and stuff on separate channels if we need to change volumes. I'll show you how to do it both ways, with the stereo mastering and with the stems mastering. I think we're pretty much good to go. I just wanted to run through the buses and just make sure that everything is, because we've also added a few things here and there. Drums. We want to just make sure everything is lining up with the correct buses. See, there's one already that I can see. I'm not sure what that is, but that should be going to leads. This should be going to leads. Oh, that was just an additional layer. We'll check that out quickly as well, because that was just another. The main melody in the break here it was just kind of getting lost a little bit. The sound for me was a little bit too low down on the octave, so I just added an exact copy of the same notes over there, but just playing a higher sound. It's a preset from my Silent One bank, and it just sounds a bit like this. And it's just a bit of a filter automation. So just when you put them together, it's got like a higher element in the. That's it. So let's just get back to that and just make sure that we've got. Okay, this one also needs to be leads. That looks about right. The high effects. This should be in low effects. High effects, everything seems to be going through the high effects and low effects. That's all fine. Let's just see that we should have more low effects. Why are we? Okay, this should be going to low, and this should be going to low if I'm not mistaken. We'll just double check that. Yeah, okay, that's fine. One last look at everything. I think we're good to go there. I did some processing on the buses here. I'm not going to actually do any more because we can actually do that in a separate mastering session. There is one thing when I do mastering for clients as well. These days, I actually specifically request them to do 32-bit files. For the reason being, like normally 24-bit 44.1 was the standard. 48 kilohertz, I get guys sending me 48 kilohertz files sometimes. It's really not necessary in the mastering process though. 48 kilohertz is important when you're actually recording or when you're converting from analog to digital. So if I was recording a voice, or if I was recording a guitar, or if I was using analog equipment in the studio to master, which we're going to do everything digitally, then your sample rate becomes quite important because it gives you more resolution in the recording process. But for the sake of preparing our files for mastering, it's not necessary to do that. 44.1 will be fine. But I do ask for 32-bit files normally. And we're just going to quickly... Let's just hit export and bring that over. Not project folder. Actually, let's just make a new. Let me just quickly find a place to store these. Okay. All right. So obviously we want WAV files, not MP3s, because we're not going to master from MP3s. We're going to set this to channel batch export, so that we can just export all of our buses at the same time. Then, what I was saying about the bit depth, I specifically asked for 32-bit float because if you are exporting 32-bit floats, you know, when we put the clippers and stuff on the bus channels to make sure that we weren't getting clips and stuff, even if you do export your files and at some point in the file you do get a clip, exporting it at 32-bit won't distort it. 16-bit and 24-bit, if you clip past 0, that's pretty much it. So 24-bit gives you more headroom, but if you're still clipping a 24-bit, you actually can't turn it down. Whereas 32-bit float, if you clip, you can actually turn the entire file down, and that data that was beyond the clipping point is actually restored. So it does give you a lot more headroom, and it also saves me trouble if guys don't know what they're doing when they send me a master and they end up sending it to me too hot or whatever, and then it makes your life a living hell to try and master this file. So yeah, 32-bit float is a good thing to do, which is what we've got selected here now. Let's just make sure our entire loop is sorted. And that looks correct. Hopefully we don't have any mistakes, and we can just go straight to the mastering now. So I'm just going to render out these bus bounces. Tell you what, we'll do a stereo out as well. Do the entire mix. Oh, and very important, we need to disable the limiter. We don't want to be bouncing through a limiter at all. Let's check our levels. Okay, even without the limiter, I'm actually seeing now that the levels are a little bit hot for my... They're not clipping, but they're a little bit close to 0 for my liking, which means that there are probably a few intersample peaks and stuff that would go through. Hence the 32-bit bounce, because that would counter that. But on top of this, I'm just going to, for safety's sake, just remove, let's say, 3 dB, see what happens. Okay, now the peaks are around about 5, which is better. Cool. So let's render this out, and then I will catch you guys in the next episode where we'll make a master project and set everything up to do our mastering before we render the final project. Cheers.